For the CS and Art Sol Le Witt Code and Concept Teacher Training. In this video, we are going to start talking about how to make shapes move using system variables, and specifically how to make an entire design move together. There is starter code for this video, and the link will be both in the curriculum training and also linked in this video. Please feel free to open it and make up a copy. You can see that I already did, which is why it says copy at the end of mine. To do that, I went to File and then Duplicate. And once you have this, make sure you go to File, Save. That'll make sure that it saves into your account so that you'll have it for later. And again, that File Duplicate button right over there. Once you have this set up, I strongly recommend you set your screen so that your code you're writing takes up about half and this video takes up about half. And then let's get going. The first thing I'd love you to do is just take a peek through this code. You'll notice that there's some code comments, which again, remember, the computer does not read those. Those are specifically to make our life a little bit easier. And it tells us that this first rectangle is supposed to be a robot head. We have some eyes made by ellipses. We have a mouth made by a rectangle, and we have some antennae, which are made by different lines. Now, if we hit play, we'll see that we have this kind of funky robot head here. And my dream for this program is I would like this robot to follow my mouse around the screen. I am going to code mouse X with you. You guys are going to tackle mouse Y on your own. So the first thing I want to do, I think I would like to worry about the head first. I want the head to follow. And I'm just going to make a note that the original point here is 150, 150. That is my starting XY coordinate for this rectangle. Now I'm going to take out the first 150, which I know is an X coordinate, and I'm just going to write in mouse X. Took me a few tries there. Now when I hit play, you'll see that my rectangle is moving with my mouse left and right, but it's not moving with the rest of the design. And that's because the computer doesn't understand that this whole design belongs together in my mind. So it's just moving the rectangle right now. If I want everything to move together, I'm going to need to use my mouse X in every point. So I'm going to go down to my eyes, and again, I'm going to make a note that the original point here is 175, 179, and I'm going to see what happens if I just take out the 175 and put in mouse X. Now when I do that, you'll see that one of the eyes is moving with my rectangle, but I'm running into this issue where I don't think that's where I wanted my eye to be originally. I wanted it to be actually on the shape, and even though this might look cute, I'm worried all my shapes are going to get stacked up together. And the reason for this is right now, my rectangle and my mouth and my eye are sharing the exact same X coordinate, which was not true in my original design. Originally, the rectangle sat at 150 and the eye sat at 175. If I wanted to maintain that relational distance, I can still do that with mouse X, but it means I'm going to be adding or subtracting to the mouse X value to make sure I preserve the distance between my original point that my mouse is following and the point of every other shape. So in this instance, I'm going to think about the original 150 from the rectangle, and then I'm going to think about the 175 for the eye. If I picture a number line in front of me, and perhaps in your classroom you may even have a number line that you could gesture to, going from 150 to 175 would involve moving 25 positive spaces or adding 25. Now when I hit play, you'll see that that eye is back kind of where I intended it to be, and it moves with my rectangle. It always maintains the same place because I have told it to follow my mouse, but stay 25 positive units away from where my mouse is. So let's try this with my next eye. My next eye is at 223. So I want to know what I'm going to have to add to mouse X to get from 150 to 223. Again, this is me moving in a positive direction on my number line. My numbers are getting bigger. To get from 150 to 200, that would be adding 50. 200 to 223 is 23. 50 plus 23 is going to give me 73. So I'm going to go ahead and add that, and now when I hit play, I have two eyes following my shape. I can do the same thing from the mouth, and again, I'm just making notes of what my original points were. Let me add the Y so that we have it for later. In this next rectangle, it's 160, 204. So the 160 is going to be easy. That'll be mouse X plus 10. I hit play. Now everything is following except those antennae, so let's work on those. Now, my line is going to be a little funky, and we're going to test this together, and then I'll show you why it's so funky. So my starting x value here is 175, so I already know that's mouse x plus 25. And if I hit play now, you'll see that part of my rectangle follows, but part of it is still anchored in place. And that is because unlike rectangles and ellipses, which have an xy coordinate and then values that set the size, lines, if you recall, have two x and y coordinates. So the first two numbers represent an x and y, and the second two numbers represent an x and y. That means in addition to changing this first x value, I also need to change the second if I want the whole antennae to move. Now there might be a world where I am making a creative project and I want one side to be anchored, perhaps I like one side being anchored, but there's also a very real situation where I just want the whole thing to move. So I am now going to think, what happens if I need to go from 150 to 130? And this is my first instance of moving in the negative direction on the number line, or subtracting 20. Now when I do that, I have an antenna that moves correctly. Let's do our last one before I turn you guys over to try this on your own with mouse Y. I now have my last line, it's at 215. I'm going to do a little mental math again. That 150 to 200 would be plus 50. I'm adding another 15 on top of that, so it's mouse X plus 65. My typing is really off today. And then I also have 240 over here, which is going to be mouse X plus 90. Now when I hit play, my whole shape should follow my mouse left and right. When I move my mouse up and down, if I could move it in a straight line without wiggling left or right, nothing would happen. But once you fix that with the mouse Y values, your shape will move all over the screen following your mouse. That is going to be your task, and if you need assistance, I recommend looking in the Sol Le Witt coding concept curriculum where this example is built out for you if you need something to follow. Otherwise, I recommend challenging yourself using mouse Y for this original point and then replacing all of the Y values in the other shapes to be relational to that original position. Good luck, and I will see you in your next lesson.